Before the billions, before the cartels, before he was called the king of cocaine, Pablo Escobar was just a teenage hustler with a talent for making money in the darkest ways imaginable. And if the rumors are true, his very first business wasn't drugs, guns, or robberies. It was gravestones. In the early 1970s, before Medellin became the nerve center of Colombia's underworld, Escobar was just another kid from the outskirts. But even then, he had a mind wired for crime. He didn't want to be poor, and he didn't want to wait. So he found his first side hustle in the most unexpected place, a cemetery on the edge of town. Locals say that a 19-year-old Escobar would sneak into San Pedro Cemetery in Medellin after dark, not to grieve, not to mourn, but to steal gravestones. One by one, he and a few friends would dig up, extract, or flat out chisel tombstones off old graves. They'd take the marble, the granite, even bronze nameplates, and anything of value. But instead of just selling the raw material, Escobar got creative. He went into business. With a cousin who worked at a local stone cutting shop, Escobar would have the stolen tombstones cleaned, polished, and recarved, then resold as brand new to unsuspecting families at a discount. He positioned himself as a guy who could get things cheap. People thought he had connections with manufacturers. They had no idea they were burying their loved ones under stolen names. In some cases, tombstones were reused with only a name change. In others, Pablo sold weathered slabs as new monuments, repainting lettering, polishing cracks. As long as the family didn't ask too many questions, he got paid in cash. And the profit margin? Nearly 100%. But the real genius was in the sourcing. Escobar learned to target abandoned graves, ones with no fresh flowers, no visitors, no family ties. He scouted headstones that hadn't been touched in years, figuring no one would notice if they disappeared. The cemetery was poorly guarded and corruption ran deep. With a few pesos slipped to a groundskeeper, entire sections of the graveyard were quietly harvested like crops. The city was too poor to investigate. The dead don't file police reports. Within a year, Escobar reportedly made enough money to buy his first car, a red Renault 4. But he didn't just spend it on luxuries. He reinvested. He paid off small-time cops. He bought a uniform and fake badge to impersonate law enforcement. And then he leveled up. Word on the street was that Pablo used those cemetery profits to start robbing freight trucks. He'd pose as a highway officer, pull over smugglers or merchants, and take their goods. Everything from appliances to liquor to electronics. He built a network that could move the stolen goods quickly, using the same structure he had with the tombstones. Steal, clean it up, flip it for cash. But the cemetery business taught him something bigger than profit. It taught him psychology. Escobar learned that people don't ask questions when emotion is involved. Families were grieving. They wanted closure. He sold them something that looked like respect, even if it was built on lies. Later, he'd use the same tactic with poor neighborhoods, building homes, sponsoring churches, giving money to the sick, all while hiding that the wealth came from trafficking poison. This early scam was a blueprint. Take what no one else wants, repackage it, sell it with a smile, and never ever let people see the truth. The tombstone hustle also showed him how authority can be faked. At the cemetery, no one questioned the teenager selling gravestones. He acted like he belonged. That confidence became his weapon. By 23, Escobar was importing large shipments of cocaine paste from Peru. He used false paperwork, bribed customs officers, and even dressed like a diplomat to get across borders. But his heart still in the hustle. There's a story from a former associate who swears that even after Escobar was worth $50 million, he once pulled him aside and said, "If I had to start over, I'd go back to the stones." The dead never argue. Creepy? Definitely. But for Escobar, it wasn't about crime. It was about control, and that mindset never left. Years later, when Escobar was building his infamous prison, La Catedral, in which he controlled from the inside, guess what he included? A cemetery-like monument garden, decorated stones, tribute markers. Some say it was symbolic, others say it was guilt, but the photos show what looks eerily like high-end gravestones, just like the ones he once sold. Was it a tribute to the past, or a sick joke to remind the world that even the dead were part of his empire? No one knows for sure. The tombstone hustle is rarely talked about. It's not as flashy as the cocaine jets or jungle labs, but it was the first taste of power for a boy who would later terrorize entire nations. It was his crash course in deception, profit, and human emotion, and it worked. He sold death, then he sold drugs, and the only difference was scale.